How's everyone doing today? So, here to talk to you about ayahuasca. So, what is ayahuasca? Ayahuasca is a vine that grows in the Amazon jungle, and it contains monoamine oxidase inhibitors, which is a scientific term for an enzyme that keeps your digestive system from breaking down certain compounds for a limited period of time, which allows DMT to be orally active, which is in the companion plants Baronis caapi and several others that are used in different brews throughout the Amazon. And ayahuasca itself translates to vine of the soul, vine of the dead, or vine of the spirit. Aya meaning soul, spirit, or dead, and huasca meaning vine or rope. And why take ayahuasca? Start there. For thousands of years, ayahuasca has been used for transformation, growth, and healing. It is a very strong healing plant, and throughout this video series, I'll be referring to her as Mother Ayahuasca through the energy and the entity I seem to resonate with. So if I say she, just understand that's where I'm coming from. That's my resonant point of view. So Mother Ayahuasca, she is a very revered and wise teacher plant, and she is the queen of all psychedelics, the mother of all psychedelics. Why take ayahuasca? A lot of us have stagnant energy. A lot of us have reoccurring patterns, troughs that we get stuck in with life and we can't get out of. A lot of us look for healing, be that mentally, spiritually, psychologically, or physically. And psychedelics are just one of many modalities that are capable of providing healing, but ayahuasca is one of the most powerful, strongest, and accelerated healing modalities that there is. And I myself took this brew in order to seek deeper wisdom, deeper clarity, and deeper understanding on my spiritual conscious path and evolution. And I got a lot of that, and I still have a lot to go. Ayahuasca is much more than what's in the cup. It's much more than what's in the brew. So anyone that is thinking about taking ayahuasca, be prepared to do work. It is not a psychedelic trip. It is not a vacation. It is not a trippy-dippy experience. Of course, there can be visual aspects on the rare cases, but I've even seen in my own psychedelic circle I went through in ayahuasca, visions. They can happen, but that's not what you should count on for ayahuasca. The healing is much deeper, more visceral, and it's at a soul, mental, and spiritual level as well. From my limited point of view, I believe ayahuasca doesn't necessarily fix anything about you by herself. She goes in and unlocks what is keeping you from accessing health within your own body. Unlocks the barriers you put up within yourself against healing, against growth, against love and compassion and your highest expression of who you are. And though she unlocks a lot of those, it is ultimately up to the individual taking ayahuasca to do the work, plant the seeds, water the seeds, and continue the growth after the ceremonies when one goes back to, daily 9-to-5 life, or whatever country you're from, whatever walk of life you're from, outside of the ceremonies. Who is ayahuasca for? In my humble, limited opinion, ayahuasca is for anyone looking for deep healing, anyone looking to transform themselves, to change, to grow, physically, spiritually, mentally, psychologically, and anyone who is struggling with a lot of deep-seated energy and issues that are in the subconscious and unconscious levels. We can do a lot of work on the conscious, but uprooting things from the subconscious can be a little more difficult sometimes, and ayahuasca is a fantastic teacher, guide, and aid in that process of uprooting that energy and stagnation so that we can process, deal, and grow from it. Ayahuasca in a nutshell is about confrontation. So she helps you dig deep, bring up whatever has been stuck and stagnant so that you can confront it, be that your fears, be that bad habits, be that things you've been putting off or shoved in the closet, be it traumas, be it your own gifts and skills or love that you have not been given yourself. Ayahuasca can be, the experiences range anywhere from transcendent and enlightening to hellish and traumatizing and everything in between. But it's tailored to what you need, not what you want. And I'd say ayahuasca is especially for anyone looking to serve something bigger than the limited small self. So, your community, humanity, Mother Nature, Gaia, Mother Earth, Spirit, the collective. Anyone looking to be of service for something a lot bigger than themselves that they know they're intrinsically a part of and are a very important piece of. And anyone wanting to become of service, give the best of themselves to the world, wanting to do the work in here so that they can spread the love, spread the wisdom, and the compassion out there, that is who I would highly recommend ayahuasca to. Who it is not for, let's start there next. Ayahuasca, in my opinion, is not for anyone who's looking to have a psychedelic vacation, looking to have a new trippy experience, looking to have fun, play, and get away and escape from life. She's about confrontation. And ayahuasca is especially not for anyone who practices violation, self-serving at the expense of others, very selfish mentalities, or black magic especially. Anything that would harm another individual, anything that would violate or usurp power from someone. Anyone who practices black magic, violates, oppresses, or seeks to harm others, ayahuasca is not for you. And I would urge you to reevaluate your life and do some soul work if that is who you are. And who you don't have to be. But at its deepest, most summed up level, ayahuasca is not for people who would abuse the wisdom, who would seek to abuse the medicine, who would seek to treat it just like a drug. Because it's not. It's very, very powerful, very holistic, very ancient healing modality that has been used for thousands of years. And if we look throughout history, things are used in their patterns for a reason. Please excuse the background noise. Yeah, there will be a little bit of that. I am in the middle of a jungle in the city. So, and where was I? Sorry about that. So, if you're just seeking knowledge and intelligence, anything not guided by the heart, ayahuasca is not for you. And we'll get back to who it's for. I'll tell you a little bit more about my experience there. So, ayahuasca is a very deep healing modality and very, very hard to go through. But the healing thereafter and therein is astronomical, unparalleled. And anything you think you know about psychedelics, I would recommend you place it at the door, leave it there, and just go in with zero expectations and assumptions. Because even if you've had a lot of psychedelic experience, like I myself do, ayahuasca is not your average fun psychedelic visual experience. No, it's much, much deeper than that. She is a wise, revered teacher and deserves reverence and respect. Now, what do you need to work with ayahuasca? 3 things, as I was taught at Spirit Quest, amazing sanctuary I'd recommend to anyone. Their website is biopark.org. They have all the information you would need, and beautiful, wonderful, hardworking shamans, and a crew that will guide you through the whole process. If you feel a shamanic calling, if you feel a calling to ayahuasca, if you feel like you're looking to work with plant medicines and you feel a calling to ayahuasca, Spirit Quest, if your heart, soul, and intention is pure, is what I'd recommend above any other. And my calling there brought me much healing, and everyone guided me beautifully through the process. Trailed off for a second. So, circling back to what you need to work with ayahuasca, 3 things that I was talking about. You need courage, you need patience, and you need surrender. You have to have the courage to face yourself, to face your fears, to face what's going to be uprooted, to face the dark night of the soul, to go through that hellish aspect if and when it can come up in ceremony, which often it does, depending on the person. Everyone's experiences are different. No two can be compared. It's tailored specifically to you and what your heart, body, mind, and soul need. And you need patience. Ayahuasca isn't just a magic switch that's going to fix everything. No. She'll help you undo blockages, and it's up to you to make sure those blockages stay gone. Make sure those seeds stay planted and watered, to make sure you continue the growth and work outside of ceremony, and in ceremony too. 1 or 2 times alone isn't enough to properly work with ayahuasca. I've done 4 ceremonies, and I still have trouble fully getting in the plant medicine mindset, and that's because of my own specific tailored situation. But I'm growing and developing that way. Some people, they work with it like that. It's very rare. Some people, it takes a lot of work, and everywhere in between. So patience is very key. What else do you need to work with ayahuasca? Surrender. You need to be able to surrender to the shaman and trust the shaman. Surrender to the medicine and trust the medicine. Surrender to your heart and yourself and trust yourself. If you can't surrender, then you're not going to be able to get nearly as much as you want from the experience. Surrender is not laying down your guard and throwing it all down. No, surrender is an act of courage and compassion and strong will. It's putting yourself out there and opening yourself up. And if you can surrender to the plant medicine, then you will have intrinsic benefits. Now, getting back to next thing on the list would be who absolutely should not take it, back on here for a different reason. If you have heart problems, if you have extreme mental disorders like schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, or extreme paranoia, or anything that or the other, I believe it's just an imbalance, but there are many other modalities to find your center outside of plant medicine. And if you're unstable, I would not recommend plant medicine for you right off the bat, no. And that is no judgment to you or anyone where they're at in their personal development. Also, anyone with very life-threatening diseases that are very volatile and fluctuating, if you're not certain about your health and wellness, then I would not recommend ayahuasca until you've done further research, consulted a professional, your doctor, and seen where you're at mentally, physically, and spiritually. That being said, for those who are still here with me and want to work further with ayahuasca, there's a specific thing called a dieta. It's very, very important. So it's the diet for working with ayahuasca. This is to get the maximum benefits and let the plant medicine work with you. So anything plant-based diet works very, very well. Low fats. Avoid eating pork for several weeks. I would recommend a month before working with ayahuasca. It's a very low vibrational food. There's a reason in several cultures why they don't eat pork, and it's more than just the physical. Don't eat meat outside of fish and eggs. If you want to stay with some protein, at least I would recommend 3 days to a week before working with ayahuasca, and don't eat red meat about 3 days to a week after working with ayahuasca. Medications. There's a whole laundry list of medications that should not be taken while working with ayahuasca, because the monoamine oxidase inhibitor, MAOIs, can be lethal when mixed with certain medications and certain compounds. It's also said to avoid poultry and pickled objects, and there's a whole deep spectrum that can give you a lot more information on this. So I would look into an ayahuasca dieta, and also you want to abstain from any psychedelics for about 30 days before working with ayahuasca, and about a week at least after working with ayahuasca. Keep your serotonin receptors reset and fresh so you can get the full experience and the full healing benefits from the mother. And the same with marijuana. It's recommended a week. I would recommend a month to fully reset your GABA and emotional balancing receptors, and then about 7 days afterwards. Abstain from salt 3 days prior, refined sugars, fast food, just don't. Fast food I would recommend avoiding for a month prior. You don't have to, but it's highly recommended to get the full benefits with this medicine. And so we got about 4 more minutes here. I'll try to keep it short and wrap it up. Other things I've heard about ayahuasca and have experienced is the purging aspect. It's very visceral, very guttural, but it happens in many ways. It can be through vomiting, through diarrhea, through yawning, through mental, emotional releases, through confrontation. And ayahuasca goes deep down, stirs up all that energy, so it can be released. So you can be a clean vessel, a clean channel, and have all the opportunity to shine your light and shine your heart and plant those seeds as you were meant to. The purging aspect can be very rough, but very healing. I myself, it always felt like I was having my internals squeezed and wrung out like a dirty rag, and what would come out of me would be stagnant emotions, traumas, neuroses, perversions, distortions, all these things that have been programmed in me for generations, and ever since I was born. Cultural trauma, existential trauma, generational trauma, as they call generational curses in a lot of indigenous cultures. A lot of those were just being purged up out into the bucket, and I would be confronted with them first, and then when they'd be dealt with, they would leave. So that's the purgatory aspect as I understand it and have experienced it with ayahuasca. And know your shaman. Do your research. There are a lot of charlatans, there are a lot of black magicians, violators, and frankly people who take advantage of people out there, and plant medicines unfortunately are being misused in several areas. Shaman means one who sees, and that is a privilege and a responsibility, but sometimes those who see use that for self-serving benefits. So not every shaman's a good shaman. Just because they say they're a shaman does not mean they practice heart magic, white magic, and intrinsic healing and deep cleansing spiritual practices. However, do your research, look at viable sources. I would recommend looking into Aubrey Marcus. He recommends places he's trusted and gone to. I found Spirit Quest through him, and I would highly recommend them. Once again, at biopark.org, you can look in, read their entire thing. I would recommend familiarize yourself. The founder was Don Howard Lawler, founded it back in 1995, and it is the most renowned spiritual healing sanctuary in all of the Peruvian Amazon, from my understanding and my experience. And now his amazing and gifted daughter, Selva Lawler, has taken over, and she, ever since he passed on, she has been working very, very hard to provide a safe space, intrinsic knowledge, healing, and a proper environment for these healing modalities to take place, tailored for you, your loved ones, and anyone who has a heart to serve and wants to become of service to the collective themselves and be a better version of themselves. As it was once famously said at Spirit Quest, ayahuasca will take out all the bad in you and leave all the good. And it's up to you to continue the work. And as was famously said by Selva to us during our retreat, it is not your job to find love. It is your job to find all the barriers within yourself that you've built against it. Ayahuasca can help you do that. Meditation, breath work. There are so many modalities. If you can't work with ayahuasca or plant medicines for specific health reasons, I would highly recommend meditation, breath work, yoga, and conscious reprogramming modalities that are taught by like Joe Dispenza and Bruce Lipton. And there's so many more. Ayahuasca is not the only be-all, end-all healing modality, and it's not the be-all, end-all. It is a wonderful, very powerful, very advanced healing and consciousness tool, as are all psychedelics. And they are to be revered, respected, and used responsibly under proper guidance from a shaman or facilitator or therapist in modern medicine. And with all that being said, if you feel a spiritual calling to ayahuasca, if you have a deep heart calling to the Amazon and you want to know more, do your research, know your shaman, find someone who is trustworthy and honest and has a lot of good reviews, and then bring that courage, patience, and surrender into the fold. You want to be able to trust your environment, trust your shaman, trust the crew that's going to be taking care of you, and trust the medicine. And most importantly, trust yourself. Follow your heart and let your heart lead. This is the office. This is home. Step down out of here and come home as often as you can. Only go to the office when you have to. And this pretty much concludes my video on ayahuasca, the introduction of who it is and is not for. And in further videos I'll be making, I'll describe more in depth as it comes and unfolds and as I remember. So stay tuned and follow me for more. Like and subscribe. It'll help me a lot to continue this channel that I'm getting started. I'll be describing my experiences, my personal development and growth, as well as my experiences with Wachuma, the forgotten psychedelic, which the active component there is mescaline, a very, very wonderful heart opener. There's another plant ceremony we did that's less psychedelic, very heart opening, called Babansana. I'll be talking about my experience with that as well. And I'll be talking more about Spirit Quest and plant medicine and consciousness tools as a whole. And I do want to say as a disclaimer, even though I am a graduate of Spirit Quest and I have the best heart's intent putting this video out there, my opinion and my information does not necessarily reflect the beliefs and overall mission statement of Spirit Quest. So I am one of many people who's come out of there. Though I do not fully represent Spirit Quest, I am not an employee, I am not a spokesperson for them. I highly revere them, and I will give you all the consciousness tools I can and all the deepest information I can about this wonderful healing sanctuary. However, something I say does not resonate, that is not a reflection on them, that is purely on me, and you should remember that. So, thank you very much, everyone. Just spread the love, keep your heart open, focus on the positive, even though there's a lot of negative. There's a difference between being aware and feeding negativity. So be aware, don't be ignorant. Feed the positivity, water those seeds of love, do what's good for your body, eat healthy, breathe more, meditate, and get out there. Just connect, get out in nature. Look at all this. It's beautiful, isn't it? Now, thank you very much. All the love, all the wisdom, all the peace to you. Namaste.